Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing very well. This setup right now, it's a bit unusual for us. I agree. This is actually how I did almost all my lessons last semester without a video link, but it's something just at least for now I'm going to do. I need to make some lessons at a faster rate and more of them at the moment. So please bear with me. So here we are in week 5, and we're going to take a tangent. We're going to take a side track. We're going to go on a scenic, a different way. We're going to get off pronunciation for this week and talk about lessons and making lessons. And we're going to walk through different parts of a lesson. And hopefully you've had a chance by now to watch my example 3-minute video teaching about have you ever in reference to food. Have you ever eaten pineapple and all the different foods? So hopefully you can see that the lesson video I made was not professional quality. I didn't have a microphone at the time. I didn't have lots of things at the time, and that's okay. I wanted you to help. I wanted us to understand that we're not expecting top quality at the moment, and that's okay. But we're going to walk through the lesson plans and also walk through some of our options and workshop out some ideas of what you can do with the different lessons. So otherwise, I hope everything is going well. I wanted to give a brief reminder. So we have this video lesson, and then most probably, I hope to have a second video lesson at the end of the semester. And I think one short quiz. The quizzes will be on eClass. They're effectively open book because it's unenforceable. So I make the quizzes with the assumption that you will be looking at your materials, which is it's not cheating if we both know it. It's okay. So but that will come later, and the quizzes shouldn't take more than 20 minutes of effort or 30 minutes, so it shouldn't be a big problem there. But anyways, let's get into it. Hopefully you can see this. So let's take a look at my example lesson plan, and you'll notice it's quite bare bones. I made this quite deliberately to show you what it could look like, and especially with the time constraints that we have with 3 minutes. Now, my lesson is just 3 minutes, very short. It goes very fast, and that's natural with such a short lesson time, especially with what I'm used to traditionally with students being 40 minutes. So 3 minutes is very short, but I think it's easier and helps us boil down the very core ideas. So let's take a look at the top. You'll notice under teacher, for your lesson plan, under teacher, for this, you need to write your name. You are the teacher. I know my name, but the lesson you give me will not be my lesson. It's going to be your lesson. So please write your name for teacher. That's you. For the unit, please put the appropriate unit. We'll talk about that later. And learning objects. This should be made clear to you in what lesson topic you choose. And here we have the example. Students will learn how to use have you ever in the context of eating food. So not about going skiing, even though it uses the same functional language. All our content language is based around food and different types of food. So have you ever eaten or have you ever had? Those two phrases. So have you ever eaten or had? That's what I used in the video. And if you remember in the video, you'll see I'm standing up, I'm talking to the camera, I'm doing a kind of happy teacher voice. I put my hat on backwards. I don't do that because I think it looks childish, I guess the word is. Anyways, but you know, you do things you don't like sometimes for the craft. So, but anyways, introduction phase, the hook phase. We have greeting and warm up. Introduction of myself. Who am I? My name is. Remember the hi everybody, I'm John Teacher. Or you don't have to put on an exact voice like that. Be like, but you know, put some enthusiasm in your voice. That's the key thing. Enthusiasm. You can't just say, for example, hi boys and girls, my name's John Teacher. Let's have fun today. That's not going to work. You're going to have to put some energy behind your voice and your demeanor. And so it's something to bear in mind. Now, I know. All right. Yes. Anyways. So, introduction of myself, then eliciting of interest in about food. So we talk a little bit about food. You know, do you like ba 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 ba? And invariably, if you ask anyone in the world, most anyone in the world, do you like food? The answer is yes. We're animals. We love food. Very few people don't dislike food. Very few. That was the wind slamming the door. Or it's a ghost. Either way, it scared me. Where was I? Anyways, so even having just a very general question of, do you like food? Sure, we all do, which is true. Everyone likes food. That's how we stay alive. Our bodies demand it. And then introducing the idea, the concept of have you ever? Have you ever? And in this lesson, we're just talking about food. We're just using food, not activities, not experiences or thoughts, just food, eating food. And here, we go to development. I use the phrase development, and this is the 1 minute and 30 seconds, so to speak, the largest section of the lesson. And the development section of a lesson is the largest. That's where the practice and production, that's where the teaching and the main activity lies within your lesson. So this is the largest chunk of any one lesson. So in the video, you'll recall that I did a quick introduction to different foods. This was I made the video back in May, and I was traveling around Yangyang over on the east coast of Gangwon-do, and provided a nice a buffet. There you go. There's a word. A buffet of choices and vocabulary. And this is also helpful because using real food, real images makes it more connectable. You can use cartoons, you can use concepts and just words, but it makes it more difficult to connect these words with meaning. And then we have the pairing of the question with vocabulary, connecting the functional language with the content language. Ask students to make their own answers to the questions on the screen, and that's exactly what I did. Now, this is making things interactive and active for video lessons is a trial. It is a challenge. So, but I do want you to try and think how you can make your lessons, how you can demand activities. How you can demand activities from your students. Pause. Recording. 3, 2, 1. Back at it. Sorry, had to take a break real fast. Got an important message. Now I don't remember where I was. So we are getting students' participation with a one-way medium, such as video and audio. It is a struggle, but it is a struggle that's worth doing so we can learn how to do it. And then the consolidation, the closing. We review, we congratulate, we finish positive, we say, good job, everybody. You did, yeah, you're superstars. Here's your sticker, metaphorically. And review what we learned very quickly and say goodbye. And that's And as you can see, that's what the lesson plan is. It is a short outline of what you're doing in the lesson. Something that is nice to remember about lesson plans is you need to make it clear enough in your lesson plan that someone else, not you, could teach your lesson. So it doesn't need to be too difficult to understand, too vague. This one is actually a little too vague, but the core idea is workable. Especially when you start learning how to make lesson plans in more detail, you'll need to be able to provide clear sequences. I believe in the future, you should be writing minute-by-minute lesson plans. That's for the academic purpose of making sure you understand the parts of a lesson. But in functional reality of the classroom, you won't have the time to make a minute-by-minute lesson plan. And of course, students will make sure that your lesson plan will not go according to plan because they don't know what's supposed to happen. So you can only prepare so much. The minute-by-minutes is more of a theoretical practice. And especially it's an excellent exercise to show that the student understands how the theoretical perfect lesson should go. And if you have that, then you can work with the realities of how things actually are. All right. Then with that, let's go over. I introduced the. Let's go over some of the. I can't use the word. Some tips, for lack of a word. On the screen, you'll see this is from the old textbook, but some very good ideas here. Now, please remember, your video needs to be 3 to 5 minutes. Don't make it too long. God bless you. There's 29 of you, and I've got 100 other students doing other things. And I don't have the time or patience to watch 10-minute videos. So your goal is to make it short. So it needs to be fun, and that's where your energy level comes in. Because if you have a high energy level, the viewer, the watcher, the student will be much more receptive to what you're selling. To go into a bit more detail, we have the introduction phase. You need to introduce yourself to your students. Say your name. Say your name. Now, you're going to give me your link to your video. And 2 or 3 of your classmates are also going to watch your video and provide feedback. We'll talk more about that later, but you need to... other people are going to watch your videos, but only the people in this class. And by golly, it shouldn't be downloaded, but it is a part of our class. So introduce yourself and introduce the topic and what we're going to learn about. What are you going to teach the students about the birds or the insects or trees or what have you? You can use a song, but maximum 30 seconds. Don't just play a 2-minute song then say goodbye. That's a fast way to get a 10 out of 500 out. I'll have a conniption with that. Now, teaching vocabulary, the pre-teaching. What are the students going to need to know for the lesson? And try to think imagine if students are actually there and they're interacting with you. I do this sometimes with you. With the video lessons, and I say, does anybody remember what the name of that guy was? I can't think of one right now. And I'll wait and go, yeah, that's right, old Bob Jones made a university, named it after himself. So that will happen, and so you need to imagine yourself as a teacher now, and that's what you're doing. So try to think and get yourself to talk and interact with your imaginary students. Try to think like that. You can use flashcards, props. That's great. Some students make small animations, which are really cool. Some students have access to more computer editing or the time to put in more things visually, but try to make it fun. This is quite important. You have to teach the correct English. Be very careful. Be very careful that you don't teach incorrect English. You're going to bomb on points for that section. Your total grade is made of 500 points. A large section of those 500, a large share of that is the correctness of what you're teaching. You have to teach them correctly, because then if you teach the students incorrect information, then what do you got? The students know incorrect information, and they may not be correcting themselves until how many years later, or never, quite possibly, especially with language acquisition, with second language acquisition. Or if they're wrong, they might resent it, or they might. There's a lot of psychological issues, especially with young learners, of how we're going to make it work. So please make sure that your English that you're teaching is correct. If you are wondering if it's wrong or right, who can you ask? Who in your small social world could you ask as an authority on such things? I wonder who you could ask. Absolutely correct. That's right. That is absolutely right. You can ask me. So if you're wondering, it's okay. If you get confused, am I looking at the right? Yeah. As I look now, all save one of you are PE major, PE emphasis. Now, of course, none of you are English majors. I'm harder on English major students, just so you understand that. English majors, I'm really hard. I'm much harsher grading. I'm nicer, so to speak, on non-English majors. But I still expect you to be perfect in every way, because you're going to be teachers. Teachers should be perfect, as they say. So, you need to have the correct English. Critical. If you are unsure, ask me before the due date, and I will keep updated. So you're teaching content language and functional language, and then also conclusion and recap. Review what you learned. Now, this is a little bit contrived because it's such a short lesson. 3 minutes to spend 10 seconds to quickly review what you learned, but just summarize what you learned, what you taught the students in 1 or 2 sentences. Today, we learned about asking and answering, have you ever eaten a food? Yes, I have. Or no, I haven't. Just like that. Don't make it too long, but you do need to review. Say goodbye. Be positive. Be supportive of the imaginative students. Think about, you're not going to call a student an idiot or stupid. Being stupid and being an idiot are 2 different things. A stupid person cannot learn. An idiot has not learned yet. That's all. So everyone's an idiot about something. Albert Einstein was an idiot about French. He was an idiot about Korea. He didn't know anything about Korea. He was ignorant. So, an ignoramus, as you were. So, an idiot, yeah, it's an insult, but being stupid is a much worse insult. All right. Now, here's some more tips for us. For your instructions and demonstrations, keep your language that you use simple. You have spent the past 3 years learning English as an esoteric language for your university entrance test, your Sunung. But now you need to go back to elementary school English and how it can be comprehensible to elementary school students. So something that's helpful there, demonstrate the task while giving instructions. Do and give instructions at the same time. Using diagrams and pictures can help. Keep your English simple. Keep your English easy. Do not use any Korean in this class. I know out in the real world, in real classrooms, a lot of Korean English teachers in elementary school, they use a lot of Korean, and so they might just say 5 words of English in the whole ding-dang lesson. This is not the real world. In this case, I want us to, we're going to exercise our muscles a bit, all right? So, if you want to think about it, if you go to the gym and you do the arm curl exercise for a bicep, that's a very, do you do a lot of natural lifts that way out in the real world? No, you do a lot of deadlifts, but, those aren't not as impressive, visually impressive. So something that goes back to using the correct English, if you keep your English simpler, you are more likely to be speaking correct English. So bear that in mind as you're moving along. If you keep it simple, your success rate will be much higher in keeping it correct. Materials. If you're using materials, if you're editing things, Adobe Premiere, for example, does not have a spell checker. Be careful of that. I've made that mistake, had a typo, then it goes into the encoding, exported out into the video format, and hot diggity dog, I can't spell. Those mistakes happen. CNN does it all the time. So it doesn't mean that you're a moron by doing it, but for this purpose, for this project, you need to keep it, have your materials with correct English. So keep it simple there. Be careful with your timing. Don't worry about the 6 to 8 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes. This last part is old because now it is an individual project, not a group project. So that will bear in mind. And with that, let's pause. 3, 2, 1, unpause. Let's take a look now at the different choices for your lessons, what you can talk about, what your lessons could be. All these lessons, these are chapters from, I believe they're from 4, 5, 6, yeah. These are chapters from different Our World textbooks. Our World is, it's an elementary school textbook based around different topics, and we can see, so for each lesson, you'll see the title, Let's Eat. Lesson 1, Let's Eat, target grade, 3rd grade. And then we have new content language, beans, mangoes, noodles, meat, ice cream, snacks, grapes, chips, yogurt, nuts, cheese. There's a comma there. So, content language, what do you notice? First, they're all edibles, they're all foods. Second, they're all plural. That plays a factor. They're all plural, and you can see we don't say meats in most conversation. Sometimes we do pluralize meat as meats when we're talking about a variety of meat. When we're talking about chicken, beef, pork, duck, horse, all the different kinds of meat. So there, it would be meats. But in usual conversation, we're talking about consumption. We say a lot of meat, a lot of ice cream, lots of snacks. So in some cases, we have the S. In some cases, we have the omitted S, so to speak. But it's something we'll get into here. This is true for cheeses as well, different kinds of cheeses. But when we're talking about a multitude of a single kind of cheese, I like a lot of cheese on my sandwich. Notice no S. So content language being vocabulary of the foods, but also these are the plural forms of them. And then in the functional language, we have 2 questions and their responses, positive and negative. Are there any blank? The content language would plug into this. Is there any blank? Sometimes we use are, sometimes we use is. Why is that? You'll need to try to explain that. And then we have the appropriate responses to both. Yes, there are. No, there aren't. Yes, there is. No, there isn't. So, you can make a 3-minute lesson based around this. Remember, you don't need to use every single vocabulary word. At least 3, as I recall. At least 3. That will help streamline the lesson. So, let's eat. Easy peasy. You can very easy to get physical objects, actual objects to use in your lesson of grapes and snacks. You probably have most of these in your house right now. Grapes, snacks, chips, maybe yogurt, probably nuts, probably noodles, yes. Beans, probably meat, ice cream maybe, but you can get ice cream. So this one is a quite straightforward one. Pretty easy. Next, My World, target grade 3rd, content language, we see the sky, the sun, a bird, a rock, a tree, a butterfly, a river. We have things that are outdoors, and we have the use of articles. The sky, the sun, but a bird, a rock, a tree, a butterfly, a river. If you can help explain the difference between the definite article, the, and the indefinite article, why do we say the and not a? Why can't we say a sky, a sun? And how come sometimes we say the river, the butterfly? That might get too complex, obviously, with just 3 minutes, but it's something that you could investigate. And we see functional language. What is it? It's a. What are they? There. We can throw in plurals as well. Third option, cool clothes, clothing, boom. You probably got these at home somewhere. This is again for 3rd grade. Gloves, a skirt, a jacket, pants, a shirt, a dress, socks, shoes. We have plurals for some of these. We have articles for others. So we get to work with those. And functional language. What are you wearing? I'm wearing ba 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 ba. This is so easy to do a fashion show. Super duper easy. A lot of students in the past just did this. They did not a slideshow, but through editing, they just got their clothes and put them on and got it worked. A few other students had the what are they called? The paper dolls, where like you can draw, you cut out the figure out of paper, and there's all the clothing you can put on top of the paper doll. There's a lot of very easy ways to show this lesson. Lesson 4, option 4 rather, my place in the world. This is target grade 4. It's a little more advanced, and you'll notice that with the vocabulary as well, with the content language. A hospital, a bakery, a museum, a park, a supermarket, a train station, a movie theater, a toy store, a police station. A bit more advanced words, and then functional language. How can I get to the blank, blank, blank? Go straight, turn left, turn right, across from. We have functional language of giving and following directions. This one's quite easy to do, relatively, as a video lesson, because you can go outside and find a hospital, find a bakery, and it's easy to show real life examples of that. So this one, introducing the vocabulary is quite straightforward there. Lesson 5, on the move. Target grade is 4. Content language, a boat, an airplane, a helicopter, a ship, the subway, a scooter, a taxi, a motorcycle. Some interesting article usage here. We have, out of these examples, so far of all these, we have the introduction of an airplane. Easy to throw in why. Remember, why do we say an airplane or an airplane instead of a airplane? Then also we have the subway. We don't say a subway, we say the subway. Something to talk about. Blank but blank. This one that leaves a lot of freedom of how you're going to express two statements that go against each other. So you are with the target language, the content language being all transportation based, you would work with that. For example, a scooter is fun, but dangerous. You could say that. It's two things that go against each other, a positive and a negative, or a negative and a positive. But we can't say a positive and a positive. We can't say a scooter is cheap, but fun, or inexpensive, but fun. Anyway. Lesson 6, animal habitats. Students always love animals, always a fun time. A tongue, fur, horns, wings, a pouch. Notice that these are all body parts that animals have. So the functional language, why? Because in the textbook it was asking, why does an anteater have a long tongue? So why does the animal have a body part? Why does a kangaroo have a pouch? Why does a bear have fur? Things like that. So why does a bear have fur? Because it stays warm in the wintertime. Why does a kangaroo have a pouch? Because it needs to take care of its baby. Those are, I think, all options. And for these next ones, this is from the textbook Let's Go, a very famous series, as you might recall. So this is target grade 6, school days. Notice that we've upgraded our vocabulary, upgraded from single words, from very simple words, to whole phrases. Watering the plants, feeding the fish, writing on the board, talking to the teacher, reading a textbook, writing a language. And then functional language, which boy is blunt name, or which girl is, he's the boy who is doing something. And we see the present progressive ing, teaching that. At the aquarium, we have 12 in total, we're only up 8. At the aquarium, amazing, talking about how things are. Amazing, boring, interesting, tiring, exciting, scary. Functional language, what did you like best? I liked something best. They were interesting. So describing how things were, not just, it was fun. It was fun. It was fun. No. We have words to help describe. So a lot of things there. In the future, talking about the future, what's going to do, not what are we going to do, what will the students do later in their lives, years away, but rather, what are they going to do later today, after class? So very relatable and easy to understand. And then talking about the senses, how does the blank look, smell, sound? Talking about 5 senses. How does a butterfly look? It's beautiful. How does garbage smell? Bad. So words to work with. And we have 2 more lessons. New experiences. This one's also about food, but a bit more what's the word? Culturally based, I believe. Fried noodles, potato salad, sushi, ravioli, crepes. Not crepes. Crepes. I'm sorry. I like it called this word creepies because I think it's funny, but that's not the word. Crepes. Kimchi, tofu, tacos. And then you'll notice here, have you ever eaten? Yes, I have. No, I haven't. So here we have the functional language for my example, but I use different target language. You can use this lesson, no problem whatsoever. You can do that. But you'll make your own, obviously. And lastly, explore the world. These are using adverbs to, how do you walk? Walk quickly, walk slowly, speak loudly, speak quietly, paint beautifully, dance gracefully. So how does she walk? She walks slowly. So there's a lot of ways for demonstrating this on video. Quite a lot of fun opportunities for all of these lessons. And your little interactivity part can be very good. The rest of this are blank lesson plans. These are to help you. Just see, the first one follows the hook, book, look, took. The second one is far more generic. You can use whichever format you like. I'll need to make sure I upload blank formats of this as well onto eClass so you can use them and not have to play around trying to unwrap the PDF file. So we haven't talked about pronunciation at all this week, but I think we needed to get this out of the way, and I hope it was helpful. And if you have questions, please ask. Because if you have one question, then I guarantee 10 of your classmates has that same exact question. So please don't be shy about asking. And also, please remember, we're gonna have a quiz sometime. I'll keep you informed. And if you have any problems, please ask. I've been able to look at your Flipgrid videos. Overall, quite nice. I'll get you your feedback as soon as I can, and we'll stay in touch. Excellent job, everyone. Have a great week. Thank you, and goodbye.